Well, good evening, everyone. This is Keith with Positively Osceola, another one of our episodes of our Coffee Club Talk Live. And, we have some amazing folks that we get to hang out with in the morning shows and our evening shows, and but none as cool as the two that we have with us tonight. And I can tell by their reactions facially that they did hear me say that. So one of those cool nights, we didn't have any technical issues whatsoever, so we're good to go. It's the internet. It is, which we all experience. So we'll kind of talk a little bit casually, and then we'll do the official thing, and from there we'll just talk about last night and this year and you guys. And like I said, I've got the easy gig tonight. It's not about me. So. You must have had fun last night out at the administration building, I'm thinking.
Definitely.
They did a beautiful job.
They
did. I told them they should leave it like that.
Yeah.
Have like Friday cocktails or something.
We should just do every Friday.
Just keep going. 52 times they did it, and it was good every time. I don't know what it was, but my wife and I, when we were coming out there last night, we were thinking, this is because Dana Schaefer had told us, it's going to be outside. We're not going to be doing it inside this year. It's a little bit different. And so I thought, well, that's awesome. They're going to do that still. And, just like all things that we've been doing, it's just a little different. And then I pull up and I see, gold, balloons. And so,
they still made it fancy.
They did. I was really impressed. It was cool. So, we're getting some folks popping in. So I think we'll make it official. Then we'll get right at the hard questions.
Ooh,
it's all good. It's all good. Here we go. Well, we're back, and so all is well. And first, I guess I should just introduce you two guys. And first of all, I want to thank you both for being here tonight. I know that you're super busy, and you must be still kind of buzzing from last night. And so, for those people who may not be aware, I am with Elvin, and you pronounce it Olivo, right?
That is correct. Yeah, you got it right.
Wanted to make sure. And so you were named as the Teacher of the Year, which is awesome, right?
Yes, very.
And I said Kathleen Williams about 10 times today. We started getting people saying, "Who's Kathleen?" Did you see that one person said, "Is this Katie you're talking about?" And so I'll get into the, and you were obviously named as the school district's 2021 school-related Employee of the Year, and to some people, I think I know that you know this. To some people, I think those are title things, and but it's last night I thought of this, and I know that you know this, but I thought of all the people that were there last night that could have heard their names when the moments were coming, and those are all amazing people. I mean, crazy amazing. And then if you take it, and then if you have, like I said, the general person that might pop in tonight doesn't know this, but you are already the winners in your schools, which are filled with amazing people. It's like the Super Bowl last night. Right?
Bracket system, right?
So I'll just, I want to say, I guess maybe we should go ladies first. We'll start with Katie. But I'm going to ask you to embellish this part a bit. But so you are currently the school nurse and LPN at Harmony Middle, which is a great school. And so you oversee you're the leader for the health and safety of over 1,000 students a day. Now, I took the time to print everything out that Mr. Telemko submitted, or part of it. And it's amazing what you have achieved and what you do for the school. And that is the common denominator, I'd say, between both of you. You both are obviously huge overachievers. I mean, it's really obvious, which is awesome. You know, it's really awesome. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about your position, as opposed to me reading it? Why don't you tell us a little bit, Katie, about your position at Harmony Middle and fairly new school, really cool school, growing. Tell us a little bit about what you do there, and like I gave you a little bit of it, but and just give us the lowdown on what you're thinking out there.
Well, I like to also think that I don't just take care of the students. It's
Right.
the faculty and staff and
Right.
parents and everyone that comes on campus. Like, I feel responsible. And even when we have events with other students and our gym was filled, I take care of their students as well when they visit for our events. I like to always joke around and say I like to put ice packs on boo-boos and give Band-Aids out, but real things go down at school. We're there so long. There's so many, humans, heartbeats that I have to take care of. So I have complex situations, and there's just me. And sometimes you can't predict if a kid has a broken arm in PE or my diabetics have low blood sugar. I'm always triaging. I run like a mini emergency room often. Sometimes there's like pencil stabbings that they have, but they make it fun. I also help with odds and ends, the t-shirt sales. I help with the business partners. I'm the health advocate, the health champion. I help with the sports with Coach Schaefer. Anything that they need, I jump in, but everybody at my school does. Everyone becomes a nurse, everyone becomes a dean, and everyone becomes a counselor. I'm just fortunate enough to have a principal and faculty and staff that help support my quirky ways and all my crazy ideas and my events. And they kind of just let me have at it. I'm very fortunate that he trusts me and my ideas and my little, I walk around sometimes with the elephant and I dress them up just to make students laugh. And they just don't ask questions.
So you're actually also the assistant athletic director. That's what you were kind of hinting at.
Yeah, I help with like the intramurals. I actually was like trying to figure out what my job role is with sports. It's whatever Coach Schaefer needs, and Coach Arnold. We work as a team. Sometimes it's taking tickets. Sometimes it's helping with the intramural sports and checking students in. And, we work as a team. Whatever he needs, I jump in. I like to take pictures. I'm not a photographer, but, kids like to see themselves.
Sure.
So after their sporting events, they come running to me to look at their basketball or their cheerleading. It helps build their confidence. Yeah. So whatever they need, I like to help in.
Yeah, the photo thing doesn't stop in middle school. We cover a lot of the high school sports, obviously, and I assure you that they still come running over to see what the photos look like. Even the seniors.
And the parents enjoy it too. These are memories that,
right.
We want to savor their middle school years so much. I always say they grumble on it. I'm like, you'll appreciate this when you're my age, and your parents appreciate seeing all your success as well.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I know I still kind of wish. I'm glad my son is where he is in his life, but I would love for him to be in middle school again and get a restart. You don't get that reboot, but it is what it is. So, well, we thank you so much, and we're gonna ask a bunch of other questions as well. You're not getting off that easy for sure. And we're big fans of Mr. Telemko, by the way. He's what a great guy, and
he is.
He was extraordinarily proud last night. I actually took a few pictures of him taking the pictures of everything going on in you. It's a good thing.
He works hard alongside with us.
Yeah, it's a good man. It's a good man. So, Mr. Olivo, want to just same thing to you. So I happen to be a little bit privy to some of the things you do over there, and very similar in that you're very available to help where the help is needed. So why don't you just go ahead and give us a little summary of what you're doing over at your school?
Well, my official title is digital media and AP computer science teacher, but it doesn't stop there. As the same thing with Katie. We wear many hats, and we try to make sure that we highlight and show our kids' talents in any way as possible. And one of the things that I try to do, and I try to help out with, is showcasing that, whether it's through social media. So I'm also in charge of the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter of our school. Also help in many ways to advertise current shows or upcoming shows through creating marketing and posters. We also, especially with COVID and all the weirdness is going on now, we've been doing a lot of digital content. So we've been recording a lot of virtual recitals when COVID started, with the whole lockdown and everything started last year. We wanted to end the year on a positive note. So we usually end our year with spring shows and we couldn't have those. So we decided to do a couple of virtual recitals. We did one big one and then we did graduation virtually as well. But we did a virtual recital where kids sent in clips and videos and music and them playing instruments and combinations. And we were able to put on a virtual show from home, and we all got together and had some popcorn over YouTube and just watched our entire kids like just showcase their talents towards the end of the year. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I try to do. I feel like it's my pleasure, my duty, and I'm humbled to do it, to showcase what our kids do in our school as many ways as possible, whether it's photography, video, anything that I can do to help our kids out.
And you're certainly in a school where I've got to believe you're taxed pretty heavy because of the variety of things that are happening on that high school level, being that it's art core and much other than that. Even if for people who have not gone to Oxa, it's not just that. There's just a lot going on at that school. It's got to come back. It's got to hit you hard on that end, and tech end, really.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But the kids challenge me, and you have to know your thing because they are artistic, and that's one thing that I have to say that I had to step my game up. I used to teach at OHS, and I focused on the technical aspects of it. And when I got to this school, I noticed the talent level was like above the roof, and they knew how to talk about the principles of art and design concepts. And then I'm like, okay, these kids, I can push them a little harder. So I have to step my game up and be a better version of myself to make sure that the kids see that I'm trying to be. I get motivated with them as I try to motivate them. They're really motivating me. So
yeah, that's a big deal. I like how you said that you need to be a better version of yourself, or they'll let you, or they will remind you that you didn't do that.
Yes, yes, no filter.
I think that might be. I think that's all. I think it's all kids these days.
Yes,
what I see, right? It is. Yeah. I think And
I'm just glad that we have like the camaraderie to do that. Some kids are shy and they won't be able to do that. I try to build that so that way they have the confidence to say what they speak on their mind, and of course in a positive way. Right. We don't need to be that. We try to give ourselves constructive criticism in a positive way.
Right. I like the word positive. Not sure why.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I'm not sure about that branding moment there. So I'll go back to Katie. So how did it feel? I was watching it, and no pressure on me. And so the whole thing last night, obviously I'm like zero pressure on me, right? And all pressure on all you guys, depending on how you take that stuff. But I was watching and I was thinking, okay, when that moment happens and it's your name that comes out of Dr. Pace's mouth. So Katie, how did that feel? Was it a bit surreal or what?
I was honestly shocked because I sat there and I'm looking amongst legends. Like, I know Alvin, my mom told me, like, she worked at OHS, how much you helped her. And she's been saying that for years. And I'm looking at, like, I'm not worthy of this. And when they say my name, thank goodness they had my face on a wall, because I was just like, oh, that's me. I think I even went like, I don't know what to do right now. I was not prepared whatsoever for that. It's shocking because what quality employees and staff that you're around. It's unbelievable. I think every single member of Osceola County School Board and district, and from the bus drivers to the crossing guards, have stepped it up this year, and it's just such an honor. There's not one slacker that I work with. Everybody has gone above and beyond this year, especially, but every year. So I honestly was like, wow, I couldn't stop. I'm still shaking, just out of pure shock.
Yeah, I think I like what you said. If you weren't sure that you heard it correctly when you saw your face up there, you're pretty darn sure at that point.
I was like, it's stuck to the wall.
I know. I got to hand it to Dana Schaefer and that whole entire team. I mean, all of them, Martha Mann and Carlos, everybody over there just was way over the top. And I'm like,
did a beautiful job.
They did. It was awesome. It was way awesome. So same question to you, Elvin. So how did that feel when you out of her mouth came your name?
I felt the same confusion, and it was, there are so many great candidates, and you can see and how they're part of that camaraderie and part of being the top. Of course, we have way more teachers that don't get recognition,
Sure.
and we still have those other 9, and I was just shocked. And then as soon as I got shocked, I was like, what do I do now? Where do I walk? I got up to the stage and I said, who do I say hi to first? I literally blurted that in front, and I was like, which way do I go first? And Dr. Pace was like, go get your flowers. I was like, okay, let's do this. And then, but yeah, it was super shocking. I'm still trying to process everything, still trying to get to the love and the messages that I'm getting from everybody. So, and then the connection that Katie brought up is, Bonnie Witt. I used to work with her at OHS a couple of years ago when I worked there. And I didn't even know that was your mom until she actually sent me a message last night saying, that was my daughter. I was like, what? So I replied back to her. I was like, no way. So I found that to be very, very, very cool.
Oh, she had nothing but love to always say about you. Even before all this, you helped her so much at that school.
No,
so
I'm glad she was always willing to do stuff, and she always like, hey, you need help. She was never shy to ask for help, which I always loved that about her.
She's always been a great example to me.
Yes, and then the other shocking value is my face looks big on this big, and I didn't want that. But yeah, that's the other thing that I thought of too, but it was a great night. It was humbling. It was perfect. It was speechless. I'm still speechless.
Yeah, it was like this is a strange Star Trek analogy, but there's a Star Trek episode, you probably haven't seen it, where they're just all the photographers and videographers are all inside Captain Kirk's face, and he's like, "Get out of my face!" I was watching everybody last night, and the photos were up on the wall, in your face.
Yep.
I kept on saying, "Don't drop this. Don't drop it. Don't drop it." It was like glass and it's heavy. And I was like,
right.
I was like holding on to it like a baby. I was like, "Don't drop it. This will look really
a little side note, Katie. I'm actually glad that you went first, because I had like a quick second to kind of think about, okay, I have to say something up there if I win.
I wasn't expecting that either. I was like,
that's true.
I think I hugged Dr. Pace, and I was like, I don't social distance well. I'm sorry.
I know I didn't know what to do. I didn't shake. It was just, I didn't know what to do. It was, but yeah, I was like, as soon as you started talking, I was like, if I win, I'm going to have to say something. So think.
I don't even remember what I said.
Yeah, that's the way it's always going to be. All right, so let me move to I'll give you the typical question to ask someone who is in the position you are. So I'll go back to Elvin on this one. So at what point, and this is, like I said, this is the typical question somebody's going to ask you guys. So at what point in your life did you decide, I think I have a passion for teaching. I think I have a passion for showing some things that I know, that, you know, that the gifts that I have, I want to pass that on. At what point did you make that decision? Because both of you have gifts, talents, and knowledge that you could use in numerous areas, obviously. So, Elvin, start with you. Where did you? When did you figure, you know what, I'm gonna be a teacher?
It wasn't. I never thought that I was going to be a teacher, to tell the truth. I went to school and I got my bachelor's and my master's in computer science. So I thought I was going to be a geeky, nerdy, Silicon Valley programmer, app developer kind of thing. But then 9/11 happened and I was working in New York. So it got hit hard in terms of the technology investments.
Right.
So my wife started teaching, and then a couple months passed and she was like, hey, there's an opening in front, like in the school across the street, middle school. You should try it out. So I did that for a year or two and I taught middle school math. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. We moved down to Kissimmee in 2005. And then I was able to obtain a job teaching web design and digital media. And then that's when I knew that I wanted to do this, because it tapped into what I was super interested in. And I always had the patience, and I was always the designated tutor in my family. Someone needed help with math, they will call me. This is before YouTube and all that stuff. They would call me and say, how do you do this? So I always had the patience, and I was always willing to help in terms of helping someone getting either help in math or whatever. But when the two things married each other, like
Right.
the teaching and the technology, that's when I was like I knew that from there on out. And then the camaraderie I built, and then the relationships, and then the kids that get jobs in those areas, like, Mr. O, I became this because I took your class, or because you inspired me to do this. Like, those are the things that I live for, and I wouldn't have it any other way, man.
So you didn't see that coming, did you? Those moments?
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And I cherish them. I super cherish them.
Yeah, YouTube is, of course, the great repository of all knowledge on the earth. But
yes, yes.
It doesn't replace you guys. In no way does it replace you guys. So, same question to you, Katie. So, at what point did you decide this is something I think I can flourish in, that I can make a difference in?
Well, I actually had my pre-major in education, but then I was like, I don't want to be a teacher. You guys are crazy. And after I was working at ORMC as a nurse, on the med-surg unit, working nights, and it was hard. I missed out on so much with my children.
Sure.
I didn't know what to do with my life as a nurse. And one day I just woke up and I'm like, they're building a middle school across the street. I live in Harmony.
No.
I actually messaged Mr. Tlemko before it even was built and said, hey, you're going to need a nurse. And they said, yeah. And I interviewed, and it was combining, like you said, the love of nursing and being in the educational system that I loved. And I had such great examples. Like my mom, she worked at the high school when I was in high school. So I wanted to be there for my children. I gave up the hospital life because my son's there now and my daughter will be there. And I had such great examples. Like I was the Key Club president at OHS, and Mrs. Barter, she showed me how to give of myself and charity. And I had such great examples in high school, especially, that I wanted to give back. I honestly was like, I wanted to be there for my kids, like my mom, and I wanted to be one that can start programs at our school like I did in Key Club.
Awesome. And we love the Harmony area. We're like 4 minutes from there, so I get it. And,
well, I get to see my kids. Some probably went like this. They're my neighbors. I'm surrounded by these kids.
Right.
It's kind of funny. Like they've seen me at the pool all the time, and so I know them very well, and the parents very well. It actually benefits me to work and live in the same small entity. It's a privilege, and I hope they feel comforted knowing that at any moment they can knock on my door and I can help them.
Nice. And our pools down here never freeze over. Another added plus.
Yeah, that's right.
Another added plus, big time. All right, so I keep saying this in every one of these shows we do. I cannot remember the last time we've had any kind of a social channel show that we didn't say the word COVID somewhere. So I'll plop it out there, right? So obviously it's affected everybody on the planet Earth in different ways. And, Florida certainly opened up our schools, and very glad we did. So, but we did that quicker, obviously, than some states. And that's not the statement I'm making though. So I guess we'll go to you, Katie, this time. So kind of how did COVID affect how you approached your job? I mean, I know that a lot of different protocols, but what was your biggest challenge that you saw and you had to get through? I think at this point we've all figured out how we do get through things. So how did you get through those bumps that were happening to your position and where you're at?
Well, it's the fear of the unknown. When we were opening up the doors, we didn't know how it would look. We didn't know how many students. We didn't know how the parents would react. We didn't know how many kids would get quarantined. But we sat there and we had a game plan. We're like, we set up a spot for them. We worked cohesively together to figure this out. It was kind of scary. Our school, the teachers, before our doors even opened, were sick. And so we were there for a week and we shut down and we had to start all over. And
Right.
I was wet because it was raining, handing out laptops. And I stood up, I was like, we will not be the COVID school anymore. I will figure out a way to make this work and us to be successful. And we're such a young school.
Right.
And we sat there, we wanted to open our sports and safe and in a way that wasn't going to make anyone feel uncomfortable. It had a challenge on every aspect, how they sit for lunch. And I'm in middle school, there's social butterflies. It's so hard. I'm wearing masks, but kids are so adaptable.
Yeah.
They just wanted to be back and they were listening and behaving, and it was kind of creepy at first because it was like zombies walking along, like I don't even know what to do.
Right.
And to see them flourish, and they were examples to me. Like they didn't complain.
Yeah.
They were like, I'm happy to be here. Whatever we need to do to be with our friends, let's do it. And I learned so much from them.
Right.
They're happy hearts. And I mean, we're going through a political year and all the changes, and they didn't care. They just wanted to be around humans.
Right.
And their energy and their love. So every aspect, from how they walk in the halls, from their bus, changed completely. But they adapted and they flourished, and they're doing so great. And I'm so thankful that we opened up our doors and we're far ahead of anybody in this country.
Right.
And the guts that took, it's paying off.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the kids are going to walk. We probably can't see it now. The kids are going to walk with some different experiences that will, I think, provide ways for them to get through future things that may happen to them. Certainly, it's not the pristine. When you're in middle school, even if you're in high school, I think sometimes you have this belief that because it's kind of an artificial world till you get out of that all. And I think that kind of broke some of that down, and I think they'll be the better for it at some point. So same question to you, Alvin. So from where you were during the beginning stages specifically, I guess, how did you get through it? What the biggest challenge is?
Well, there was a lot of challenges, of course. I think one of the things that I tried to focus mostly on was whether or not the kids were okay at home. I know I teach technology, so technology was important to ensure, or the access to technology was important to our school and to our kids. So I needed to make sure that, okay, do they have a computer at home? Do they have can they download the software that we use? Does it run well? Like there was like little things that we needed to make sure that things work. But the most important thing was, hey, are you okay? Are you safe? How's everything at home? Are you able to talk to other people? How are you communicating with other people? Do you have a friend that you're hanging out with, at least virtually? That way it's more about ensuring that the human child is important and ensuring that they're okay. Are their feelings and their needs being met and looked at, instead of the educational aspect? Of course, we're in the educational field, so we have to focus on that aspect as well. But we have to make sure that they're safe, they're home, they have food, everything is all good. So those are the things that I tried to focus on. I know as an art school, I was trying to also ensure that we had some kind of art being put out there to bring back to normalcy. So with the lead of our admin, Dennis Neal and Mr. Connors and Dr. Long and all our artistic and non-art teachers, we were able to put on a little show at the end of the semester in December. We did a holiday show, and that brought back things a little bit back to normalcy. We did safe and social distancing, and we were able to then publish it online again. After that, we recorded it so that way people at home that felt like they wanted to stay home, to make sure that people at home were safe as well, were able to watch the show from home as well. And then, so now as people are getting their shots and people are maintaining social distancing and ensuring that everyone is safe, we're slowly opening up the gates to bring in other opportunities where we provide a show here and there to bring back art, because art is super important in our lives, whether it's dancing or listening to music, or it's just the showcasing the passion that these kids put into their creations have to be displayed. And I just want to make sure that happens.
And you mentioned that your son was playing keyboard last night.
That's right.
And
That's right.
You pointed out last night, because I am a sax player, we pointed out last night that even just that was an awesome thing, because the kids get to perform, right?
That's right. I mean, of course, my son, it plays keys. He was there last night playing the piano, and I was there helping him, making sure everything was all set. But just to see, those kids did not rehearse once. And I don't know if you saw that, but they didn't rehearse once. They got together, they sent each other the music sheet or whatever. I'm very bad at music, but they sent each other the music and what they were going to play and in what order. And they went in there like pros, and they did their job and played really well. And it just
They
made that
did.
night just a little extra special.
It sounded
So
like a recording. They were so great.
It was great. I was like, man, I got to get my horn. I got to practice.
you could have joined them.
It was nailing it, man.
Yeah.
It was great, right? They all did.
Yeah.
They all did. So we're like, we're a half hour, and we could go about another 2 hours, but we probably shouldn't. So, I'll out myself a little. My son is 20, and he has a passion for kids. Maybe because he's an only child, but he is direct connecting to UCF to be a teacher. And so he just loves kids, and just loves the elementary school levels, and just loves kids, wants to teach kids. So it's this is to me right now, this is just a really fun conversation. So what would you tell young kids, middle school, high school kids that are interested in passing on their knowledge, passing on their giftings, and this goes to both of you. What would you say to some younger folks about making that choice to make a difference in other kids' lives as they go through this journey too? Well, Elvin, why don't you start out?
Well, there's different capacities that a kid can go into that. It just depends what their passion is about. Some people like teaching, some people aren't made for teaching. It just depends what they're interested in. I would say, if you think that you want to be a teacher, then yes, pursue that. Get schooling, try to get in the classroom so that way you can get hands-on experience, maybe subbing, doing things that just to get your feet in and establish relationships and see whether or not the path that you want to is that path. It is very, very rewarding. Of course, the relationships that you built are the most important thing. Not only with the kids, but also with the parents, with the admin. Is just a team effort. And yeah, so that's one avenue. But there are other avenues, especially with technology now. I mean, you could become a social media person and just share your talents there. You could create tutorials online. You can build a following that way too. So there's numerous ways that a kid can put their art and their talents and their knowledge out there. It just depends what their passion is and how they want to put it out there. And the beauty of technology and the way we live, it makes the world a little smaller for communication. So they can be what they want to be, whichever way they want to do it. They can influence a life any way. I've seen people that give out great like mental healthness advice through apps or through social media content. And they're just a daily reminder, like, hey, get up, today's your day, let's do this. All those things help. So pursue your passions and find your way to influence anyone in your life to be either a better version of yourself. And the way that it starts is but to try to be a better version of yourself. So you can't change the world without trying to change yourself and trying to love your family. That's where you start. You start home base. That's how you change the world. Look at yourself, make sure you're doing the best that you can, help your family out, and then that'll radiate throughout the world.
I think that answer probably reflects well on why you ended up being the Teacher of the Year.
I appreciate that.
Katie, we're gonna close with you. We started with you. We're gonna end with you, and same thing. So obviously, you're passionate about what you do. You made a conscious choice to do what you're doing, and so obviously it's rewarding. What would you say to somebody that might be thinking that as well?
What he said, it was perfect. It does start with the family. You're right. I mean, this is why I'm here, was because my family, and hope my kids will continue. But I always ask students, because the mental health right now is struggling. I always ask, who's your person? And it just makes me so happy when they mention a teacher. Like, teachers don't just teach. They nurse, they're guidance counselors, they're deans, they're students' person. And it's no pressure right now, but they pay attention to everything that you do, how you react to their questions. And you're not just teaching, you are everything to them. I always ask the students too, like, what does, at middle schoolers trying to figure out what they want to do, I said, find something that you actually love, because this doesn't pay. Like, it doesn't matter how much you get paid. If you love it, it's worth the sacrifice. And what is your footprint you want to leave in this world? That's more important. I worked in business before became a nurse, and I just made rich men richer. It was kind of lame. I wanted to make a footprint in this world. And if you find your niche and something that you love, you will make that footprint.
So those were both perfect answers, actually. So
yes,
and you are both teachers. There's no question about it. You're both educators. And I'll come back around and we'll close out like this. But you really were amongst some amazing folks. I looked around, and we consciously partner with the school district of Osceola County because we love the school district. I don't know another organization that changes people, that makes positive, influences on enormous amounts of people. And sometimes that's on the teachers, not just the students. So a wonderful organization. Like I said, I looked around, and we know a lot of folks that are part of the district. And I can promise you this. As I watched Dr. Pace last night, she was extraordinarily happy to be saying both of your names. So that
means a lot.
I could tell. And so I am absolutely honored that you guys have spent time with us here tonight. And I hope that we'll get to see you again before the little buzz that I'm sure are feeling wears off a little bit.
Yes.
It had to be surreal. So again, we're very honored, and I hope that we get to see you more in the remainder of the year, and then again next year very soon. So again, very honored and humbled that you guys would be here. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for all that you do for our county as well.
Yes.
Stay
Positively
positive.
News. Yes, that is correct.
Oh, we're gonna keep going.
We appreciate it.
No, can't get rid of us now. You're stuck with us. So. Well, again, we'll close it out. All right, again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola. Honored to be here with Katie Williams and Alvin Olivo, both named last night. Alvin, of course, Teacher of the Year, and Katie named as the School-Related Employee of the Year with the school district. Again, thank you. So together, making a positive difference in and around Osceola County. Have a great night, you guys.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Click.